All right, so if you run a machine shop, you know this headache. I mean, you've definitely faced it. A customer comes in, they need this super long, super skinny part, and the tolerances are just insane. And your standard lathe, it's fighting you the entire time. Well, today, we're going to talk about the machine that was literally invented to solve that exact problem, the CNC Swiss machine.
So here's our game plan. We'll start with that problem every shop runs into, then we'll meet the machine that solves it and really unpack its secret weapon. After that, we'll look at the business case, put it head-to-head with a standard lathe, and wrap up by helping you figure out if a Swiss is your shop's next big move. Let's dive in.
Sound familiar? Yeah, I thought so. You've got this job on the books, a long, skinny part with a ridiculous tolerance. It's a classic machining headache, isn't it? And it gets right to the core of why our standard machines sometimes just aren't enough.
Okay, let's get into why this is such a pain. It all comes down to the simple physics of how a standard lathe actually holds on to the part.
Think about it. On a conventional lathe, you clamp the material in the spindle, right? Well, the farther your tool gets from that single clamp point, the more that part wants to flex and vibrate and chatter. And that deflection, man, that is the mortal enemy of precision. It means bad surface finishes, parts that are out of spec, and you know what that leads to? Scrapped material and lost time.
But what if you could support the material right where you're cutting it? That simple, absolutely brilliant idea is what's behind the CNC Swiss machine. It's not just a souped-up lathe, it's a completely different way of thinking about turning.
So let's be super clear about what this thing is. A CNC Swiss machine is a specialist, a total pro. It's engineered from the ground up for one mission, making small, complicated parts in huge quantities and holding crazy tight tolerances while it does it. And just look at the industries that depend on this tech. We're talking medical implants, aerospace fasteners, defense components. These aren't just widgets. These are critical parts where precision isn't just a nice-to-have, it's everything. In these fields, failure is just not an option.
So how in the world does it pull off this incredible precision? Well, it all comes down to one key component, what I like to call its secret weapon, the guide bushing.
And this right here, this illustrates the whole magic trick. On the left, you've got your standard lathe, with the material just kind of hanging out there in space. But look at the right, the Swiss machine. The bar stock is sliding through a guide bushing, which is supporting it with incredible rigidity, like just millimeters from the tool. Instantly, all that leverage that was causing deflection and chatter, it's just gone.
Here's a great way to think about it. Try to write your name holding the very end of a pencil's eraser. It's almost impossible, right? But hold it right at the tip and you have perfect control. That is exactly the kind of stability we're talking about with a Swiss machine.
So the process itself is simple, but so effective. The bar stock feeds out, that guide bushing holds it perfectly steady, and the tools come in right at that point of maximum support. The result? Vibration and deflection basically become non-issues, which lets you achieve extreme accuracy on those long, skinny parts.
Okay, so that stability is the engineering magic. But for you, the shop owner, that magic translates directly into something else. Profit. The benefits go way beyond just making a good part. They can change your whole business equation.
Modern Swiss machines are absolute production powerhouses. With things like sub-spindles to work on the back of the part, live tooling for milling and drilling, and even multiple tools cutting at the exact same time, your cycle times can be dramatically shorter. And for any production run, that means higher output and, you guessed it, better profit margins.
And maybe the biggest win for efficiency is making parts completely done in one shot. Instead of turning a part, then moving it over to a mill for more features, a Swiss machine can do it all. This one-and-done approach gets rid of secondary setups, cuts down on handling, and eliminates that dreaded stack-up error, which just makes the parts better overall.
So let's tie it all together. Because that guide bushing gives you such incredible stability, you don't just get better dimensional accuracy, you also get a way better surface finish. I mean, for a ton of jobs, this can completely eliminate the need for secondary grinding or polishing. Think about the time and money that saves.
Okay, so you get the how and the why. But the real question you're probably asking is, when should I use this thing instead of my trusty CNC lathe? That's the million-dollar question, right? So let's break it down.
All right, here's the head-to-head. A Swiss machine is your champion for small, long, complex parts, especially in medium to high volumes. It wins because of the guide bushing, simultaneous cutting, and just insane repeatability. A standard CNC lathe, that's your flexible all-rounder. It's better for bigger, shorter parts and more economical for those one-off jobs. See, it's not about one being better. It's about having the right tool for the job you want to win.
So, after all that, we land on the big question. You see the power, you see the advantages, but should you be investing in this technology for your shop? Here's the bottom line. If your shop is turning away work because the parts are too small, too long, or the tolerances are just too complex, that is precisely the gap a Swiss machine is designed to fill. It's not about replacing your lathes, it's about adding a whole new capability and opening up more profitable territory.
And that really brings us to our final question for you to think about. Look at the work you're doing now, and maybe more importantly, the work you're quoting but not winning. Could this technology be the key that unlocks that next level for your shop? Could it be your ticket into those high-margin industries like medical or aerospace? It's a powerful question to consider. Thanks so much for tuning in.